Hey, this is Steve Goodner, and this is the Small Business Growth Lab. Today, I want to talk about marketing mania and all the craziness that is out there as far as marketing goes. Um, as a reminder, these are unscripted. So I don't have something I'm reading to you. This is not theory. What I want it to be is transformational. So let me just talk a minute about marketing and really focus in on what I think is important. If you listen to the experts, you're going to get a million different ideas on what your marketing should be. Now, I'm talking to solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses, up to, let's say, 100 employees. When you think about marketing, it's really important to focus in on first, who's your ideal customer? Now, I'm not sharing anything new with you when I talk about ideal customer profile, but it's so important to understand who your ideal customer is. When I talk about that, before you ever start marketing and messaging to people, you need to understand who your ideal customer is, and you need to understand what are their emotional drivers. Why would they buy from you? So I always want you to think about putting yourself in the shoes of your ideal customer and think about them saying, what's in this for me? What's the reward I'm going to get out of doing business with you? How will it alleviate pain points? How will it increase my success, my satisfaction? Really focus in on who that person is and what you can do to bring them the outcomes that they want. One of the biggest mistakes small business owners make, they're very good at what they do, and they have figured out how to do something really well, but don't use the how-to in your marketing because it doesn't make sense and it doesn't connect with people and engage them. Most people don't care how you do something. They care about the results. What's in it for them? What are the outcomes they can experience for your solution? So keep that in mind as we move forward here. And there's so much noise about, oh, you need to be on this platform and have this video editing software, and you need to do this, and oh, you got to be on this and that and the other. Just stop the craziness, okay? What is the most important thing that marketing can do for you? It can get you in front of your ideal customer. So where are they? Where is your ideal customer? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Alignable? Are they on other kinds of networking platforms? Are they in locations where you can go and be in person? Think about that, because the key to marketing is just raising the visibility so you can have more conversations. And that's what sales is. Sales is conversations with a purpose. And I'll get into that in another video, but marketing is just about bringing more people into your orbit so that you can have more people to have conversations with and to see if there is a match between needs and the resources and solutions that you provide. So keep that in mind as you think about your marketing and your messaging. The next thing I want to talk about is clarity. If you're not clear yourself on what you bring to the marketplace, how in the world are you going to be clear with other people? How are they going to be clear about what you do? So clarity is absolutely critical in what you do. Now, when I coach people through my EQ Fit Activate process in growing themselves and growing their business at the same time, what I will say to them is, if you can only offer one thing, just that's it, one product, one service, that's it, what would it be and why? Because that makes you really start to focus in on what is the absolute differentiator that I bring to the marketplace? What is the thing that I do extremely well that brings real results for people? Now, I'm not saying you have to limit yourself to that, but I've been through this journey myself where I can do so many things for people. I can do leadership development, I can do searches, executive leadership searches, I can do sales enablement, I can do training, workshops, communication, culture change. I can do so many different things for people and for organizations. But when I start to share all of that with people, all it does is muddy the water because people do not know exactly what they need. Or guess what? They've already done it themselves. They would do it if they could. So, what I want to do is help people understand when you're marketing and when you're messaging, try to get it as distilled down and focused as possible into that one thing. And maybe it's more than one thing, but you know what I'm finding? I provide one thing right now that I market and I message. EQ Fit Activate. If you want to grow your business, you have to grow your business and yourself at the same time. Come in, I'm going to give you a package of assessments. We're going to work together intensively for 6 weeks, and that's going to be your launching pad to grow your business the way you want to get the success that you want to get. Because most people don't start a business to become a salesperson. But if you don't sell, you don't have a business. That's my thing. Okay. But you know what comes out of that? Down the road, I can help people grow their leadership skills as they bring on employees. I can do pre-hire assessment packages. And I'm sharing this with you, not as much to share the things I can do, but I want you to see how that one thing can blossom into many things. But it is that clarity about the primary thing that you do that is so important and how we get that message out there. So clarity breaks through all of the noise. And so when people go, oh, this is the person that does that, then when they need that, guess who they come to, right? Because there's clarity for them about what you do because you have been clear about what you do. I also want to talk a little bit about the value you bring to people. Everybody has a value threshold. You have to exceed that value threshold to be able to have a chance at doing business with them. There's another threshold that they have as well, and that is a trust threshold. If you can exceed the value threshold and the trust threshold together, then you have an excellent chance of doing business with somebody. So as you think about who your ideal customer is, what is that profile, and what do you bring to the table as solutions and the outcomes that they want to see, you can then focus in on bringing value before you ever charge them a single dollar. How does that happen? Well, I've developed hundreds of articles, podcast episodes, newsletters, tools, assessments, surveys. I've got all kinds of things that provide value to people before we ever do business together. And that lets people know that I'm real, I'm credible. That actually goes to trust. Credibility plus reliability plus connection equals trust. So as I'm working with people and as I'm marketing what I do, I want to give them value. I'll have 30-minute discovery calls with people. I don't charge for that. And I give them ideas on how they can grow themselves and grow their business in that 30-minute discovery call. And I've had more than one person this week say, I'm doing business with you down the road. I appreciate all the value you gave me today. And they can take that and they can use it. Somewhere down the road, they're going to come back. You know why? Because there's so much more value for them if they connect with me and we engage together and work through this EQ Fit Activate process. So think of value. That's a big deal in your marketing. Also, I want you to think about emotions. Uh, People buy 70 to 90% of the buying decision is emotional. It's emotional drivers. And if you can understand the emotional drivers of your ideal customer, the sales process pretty much takes care of itself, because that's the thing that's going to drive them to take action. And that's what we want to get to. So you're building value, you're building trust with them, and you're meeting their emotional needs, their emotional drivers. Then the sales process is just a simple set of conversations with a purpose. And so now let's talk about platforms. Let's talk about all of that. Okay, sure, there's lots of stuff out there. But I want you to think about, if you listen to all these people that are talking about marketing, they're going to tell you need to be on all the social media sites. You got to be on these platforms. You got to do this. You got to do that. Got to have videos. Got to have podcasts. You got to have this. Stop the craziness again. Focus in on the things that will meet your ideal customer where they are. Maybe it is a podcast. Maybe it's a blog article. Maybe it's a post on LinkedIn. Alignable is a wonderful place for me, because the whole platform is made up of millions of small business owners. And I can bring my experience and knowledge and value to anybody on that platform who wants it. And I love that opportunity. So think about what makes sense. Now, a lot of people will tell you, you got to buy ads. You got to get this thing to do all your videos. You got to get this fancy, incredible website with all of this stuff on it. Again, common sense here. Okay. I want you to think about building a pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, at the foundation, is the free and low cost stuff that you can do yourself, or there's very little cost to it. You can start to add layers as you go. You can increase and have this fancy new website, or have more of different things: video creation, podcast management by an outside organization. And I know a couple of those that do a really good job of that. But I want you to start in a place that makes sense. Okay. Maybe you're further down the road and you've got a good marketing program in place. Maybe what you need to focus on then is more of the emotional intelligence aspects, the neuroscience of marketing, that's going to bring you in more potential clients into your orbit. But be considerate of your budget, be considerate of where you are right now, and do the things that make the most sense. So for instance, I think everybody should be on LinkedIn. I think any small business owner should be on Alignable, because that is a true networking site where people get to talk to each other, literally face to face, get to talk to each other. LinkedIn is good too, but it's good for a different reason. It doesn't have that face-to-face connection like Alignable does, but you know what it has? You can have a really effective profile. You can put out a LinkedIn newsletter. That doesn't cost you anything but the time to create the newsletter. So, and whatever you do, small business owners, and this is a part of that EQ Fit Activate process that I coach people on and teach them in, is leverage the heck out of technology that is free or low cost. And there's a lot of it out there. To have a competitive advantage in the marketplace and to create sustainable success, we have to up our game as small business owners. And that's why I'm having this conversation today about what I call smart marketing. Let's make sense out of it. Don't get sucked in to every new blinky shiny thing that's out there and that people want to do, and you're paying money for all of these different things. Because in the last 2 months, I've talked to over 500 small business owners, And the consistent message I'm getting on their marketing is, we tried all of this stuff and we didn't get anything out of it. We spent all this money and we didn't get return on investment. Start at a low level cost wise and build your image, build your brand, build your value, build your trust, build your community. That's another thing we can talk about. And then you can add and scale as you go. I hope that helps. Don't let the mania out there pull you off in 5 different directions at the same time. Focus. What is your one offering? What is the thing that differentiates you in the marketplace? And then use multiple low cost areas to get that message out there to people. Hope that helps, and we will see you next time.